Hello friends, welcome to another new Manhwa story. Friends, I hope you like it very much. So friends, let's start the video. At the beginning of the story, we see two people guarding a very dark-looking dungeon, who have long tails. There is complete silence, and then the sound of beautiful and shining footsteps coming closer is heard. Seeing him, both the guards become alert and welcome him. As soon as the women reach there, she orders both the guards to come out and says, "I want to talk to the prisoner alone, so leave us alone for a while." That lovely-haired woman is actually the queen of the Silver Dragons, and her name is Rosywise. The man in prison was a great hero of humanity, and he was the enemy of the Silver Dragon. Our hero did not want to talk to the queen in any way. He just wanted Maharani to kill him quickly. He looks at the queen and says, "Kill me." The queen listens to his plea, enjoys the moment, and smiles at him. The queen did not want to kill him easily, as she had a bad habit of torturing prisoners. The queen looks at him and thinks it would be better if she gives him more wounds on his face and whole body. And then at the same time, she cuts his face with her nails. The queen then starts licking the blood from the wounds she gave him. This was an insult to our hero. Our hero feels very embarrassed, and he requests her not to torture him like this, and looking at her, he says, "Kill me soon." The queen didn't want to kill him so easily. She wanted to humiliate him even more by making him a slave to the Silver Dragon. And then she looks at him and asks him, "Do you agree to become a slave to the Silver Dragon?" Hearing this, our hero thinks that this is just a joke and looks at him and says, "Are you worth this?" Hearing this, the queen becomes very angry. And then she immediately kicks our hero, freeing him from the chains. And he hits the wall. He is in very bad condition. He is hurt so severely that he starts coughing up blood. And then Ronnie kicks him more, which hurts him more, and then she stands up, keeping her kick on his chest. Ronnie insults him again and again, so that he can see his position, that he is not a powerful person. The queen then looks at our hero and says, "Hey Leon Cosmos, do you think you are still the great hero of mankind, admired by thousands of people? Are you still dreaming of wiping out the Dragon Clan and leaving a good reputation for future generations?" Our hero was very sad, and he was unable to do anything. And then the queen smiles at him and says, "Hey, get up. Now you are going to die. You are an ignorant opponent loser. And maybe you could have given your descendants a chance to enjoy wealth and splendor with you. But it is an interesting concept, isn't it? But unfortunately you have no heir, so your day will not come." Our hero looks at her angrily and says, "Rajavs do not underestimate humans." She gets angry after hearing this, and then she strangles him with her power-style long tail, and says, "What a stubborn person you are. Even after taking so many beatings, your ego is not reducing." Our hero is in unbearable pain. But the queen stands in front of him and smiles and says, "Are you ready to beg like a beggar now?" Our hero replies, "You have made 2 mistakes from the beginning which you should not have done." The queen is shocked to hear this. She does not understand what he is talking about. And then he tells that first of all you should not have stayed alone and the most powerful dragon slayer who has been trained. And secondly, you should never have done this. And then our hero is feeling very happy in his mind thinking about that mistake. At the same time, he takes advantage of the queen's mistake and activates his skill, and says, "Go taste my blood." As soon as he says this, a red aura starts appearing in his eyes, and the same aura starts appearing in the queen's eyes as well. And then she immediately removes her tail from his neck. Then suddenly the queen starts feeling very strange. She feels a lot of heat building up inside her. She sits down on the ground, her body collapses, and she could not understand what was happening to me. Ronnie's body started trembling violently, and her eyes also turned red. Our hero tells her that this is the result of her mistake. Ronnie was in a lot of pain, and the next moment Ronnie started getting attracted towards our hero. And then she hugs our hero very tightly. Our hero is confused by what he sees, as this was completely beyond his predictions. And then she kisses our hero very passionately. Our hero is shocked to see her and wonders if she is becoming sexually aroused. Our hero regrets the curse he put on her, as it was because of this curse that he had to have sex with her. And then Ronnie regains consciousness after 1 hour. Her clothes were scattered here and there. Ronnie was still confused that what did she do that her clothes were taken off, And what is he doing with her in a naked state? Then suddenly her eyes fall on the prisoner and she says, "Hey, what are you doing here?" Because she did not remember anything, and then she starts gathering her clothes at the same time. Our hero was still not satisfied. This effect was for the first time for him. And looking at him, she shouts and asks, "Hey, what have you done to me?" Our hero looks at her and gets a serious answer and gets the answer. "The mistake you have done is the blood curse. This is a technique that can be used only once in a lifetime. If you taste my blood, then a soul connection will be formed between us. And when I die, then this curse will put you in endless pain." Hearing this, the queen gets angry and says, "Hey, stop your nonsense. If this is a magic that works even after your death, and what about what has just happened between me and you?" And then our hero tells that it was an accident. I didn't expect that its side effect will be like this. Ronnie covers her body after hearing him and says, "Hey, you stop talking nonsense." But our hero was happy now and he says, "But as far as I know, you dragon people follow the rule of monogamy, right? The queen will not only be unable to find a new mate, but will also not be able to leave offspring. And the dragon clan will also not understand why she is doing all this." Our hero was happy thinking that the effect of this Siddha mantra is much better than I expected. And the queen was not able to understand what will happen now. Our hero looks at her and smiles and says, "What did you say just a while ago that I will not have any heir? And now think about yourself. What will happen to you? Now you will also not have any heir." And then the queen hears this and gets very angry and activates her dragon aura. And she runs towards him to kill him and says, "You are a bastard," but just before doing so she stops her attack. Because our hero reminds her that he will die by connecting with the soul of the queen dragon. And then he tells her that, "You want me to die, right? But you don't have to do this. I am going to die myself." And then he looks at Ronnie and says that if there is so much hatred and lifelong pain towards me, then my life is useless. But for you, living as a woman is just alcohol. On hearing this, Ronnie gets angry, and then she wears her clothes at the same time, and says that you are just a human being who is taking revenge from me in such a disgusting way, and you want to kill me. In a short, while our hero loses his senses, and then she looks at him and says, "How can this be so easy? You cannot die so soon," and then she activates the dragon aura at the same time and puts a dragon mark on his chest. Friends, our hero's name is Leon, who once had the title of killing a dragon. But his past was not good. When he was 5 years old, he killed his neighbor's dangerous dog with his bare hands because he wanted to protect his friend. His friend was also injured and scared. Our hero entered the Imperial Academy to undergo rigorous training and enhance his abilities. And 4 years later, he graduated with the youngest age and highest rating in history. When he was 15 years old, he entered the dragon-slaying battlefield and killed countless dragons, and the territory was regained. And he gained many military titles for the Empire. And then our hero Leon was known as the most powerful dragon-slaying hero. And he is the only hope to lead the Empire to victory and end the war. But during that time, he makes a mistake that makes him a prisoner of the Dragon Nation. After 2 years of captivity, he wakes up from a very long sleep. He seemed to be in shock and was very confused. He was seeing that place for the first time. He was surprised to see that place and was thinking, what is this place and where is he? But just then a beautiful girl opens the door and goes to the door. Seeing her, our hero's confusion is cleared. And then the little girl looks at our hero and asks, "Hey, are you awake?" Then our hero looks at her and says in surprise, "Hey, you are so beautiful." But our hero was still worried, thinking, what is this place? And then he draws his own conclusions. He thinks that maybe this is happening because I have contributed so much to mankind. So maybe I have reached heaven. And this girl must be some great angel. And then he looks at her with very loving eyes because she looked very unique, and her hair also looked very unique. And looking at her, he asks her, "What is your name?" But seeing that girl, our hero feels a sense of belonging, and he feels as if he already knows her name. The little girl smilingly replies that, "My name is Moyne." Hearing this, our hero becomes happy and thinks in his mind that what a nice name it is. And then that little girl looks at our hero and says that, "My mother has told me the meaning of my name. And the meaning of my name is Moon." Hearing this, our hero thinks in his mind that I did not expect that there are mothers in heaven too. And then our hero introduces himself that my name is Leon. Hearing this, the girl becomes happy and says that I know your name. Your name is Leon, and Leon means lion. Our hero gets confused as to how she knows all this, and then he asks her, "Who told you all this?" The little girl smiles and replies, "My mother told me all this." Our hero gets scared hearing this, and then asks her, "What is your mother's name?" And as expected, she tells that her mother's name is Rosewace. Our hero doesn't believe this. He gets shocked. And then he looks at the little girl and says, "If Rose is your mother, Rosewace, then that means I am yours." He doesn't get to say the whole thing. Before that, the little girl looks at him and says, "You are my father." He gets completely convinced and gets shocked hearing this. And he says, "How is that possible?" He gets it. She is Rosewace's daughter. Seeing her, our hero thinks in his mind that only a ghost can believe this, and he was getting very upset with this thing. That she hates me. She wants to torture me a lot. Then why did she give birth to my child? Meanwhile, the little girl's mother comes. She looks at her mother and says, "Hey, Mom, Dad has woken up." Our hero turns his head and looks at her. He can't believe his eyes, because she is actually Rosewace. And then the little girl goes to her mother. Then Rosewace says to the little girl, "Yes, I know that your father has woken up." And then she comes to our hero and looks at him with a fake smile and says, "Leon, finally you have woken up," and congratulates him for waking up. Then the little girl comes and says, "Mom, you must be happy to see Daddy awake, right? Because you used to visit him every day." Queen looks at our hero with a vengeance and says, "Yes, that's absolutely true. I have waited so eagerly for this moment that your father wakes up." Our hero understood this after seeing her, and he thinks in his mind that only a ghost would believe this. Our hero knew that she hates him. And then Queen tells that little girl that Moin, first you go out and play, I have to talk to your father. Mohan replies, "Okay, mother." And then our hero asks her, "Is Moin really my daughter?" Queen replies, "Yes, and what?" "She is our biological daughter." And then both start fighting with each other, and he says, "You hate me. So why did you give birth to my child? And why did you save me? Tell me." Queen, seeing him, replies that I was waiting for this moment very eagerly. You have no problem that you have been sleeping for 2 years. Do you think that after what you did to me 2 years ago, how can I forget it? Our hero responds by yelling, "Do you think I wanted to do that? We are different, and we can't be together if someone else is around, and I wouldn't even want to touch you if I wanted to." The Queen says, "So my touch feels like torture to you. You feel like you are being insulted." Our hero replies, "Yes, of course." The Queen at the same time traps his leg with her long tail and throws him on the bed, and climbs on top of our hero. Our hero is shocked by this situation, because the Queen starts tying him up with her, and at the same time tears our hero's clothes in a very aggressive way. And then a glowing aura appears in the Queen's hand, and she says, "I want to make my own dragon pattern on you." On hearing this, our hero tries to stop her, but she doesn't stop. She at the same time makes a dragon tattoo on his chest and says, "It will be a shame for you." This tattoo means that from now on you are my prisoner, and you will never be able to leave me. And it was very surprising that our hero sees a glowing aura on his chest, which is a sign that he is a slave of the Dragon Empire. And then she vindictively says what your fellow humans will think when they see the dragon tattoos on your body. That you, a great dragon-slaying hero, are a traitor who has surrendered to the Dragon Clan. The Queen was very happy to see his reaction, as it was beyond her expectations, because she had succeeded in subduing a hero of humanity through the door of love. And then she looks at our hero and says, "I want you to live with this shame and be terribly humiliated by me for the rest of your life." Our hero is very sad. It was a great honor for the silver dragon Kevin Rosevez to make Leon, the greatest dragon slayer in mankind, a slave of the dragon clans, and in a way the closest companion of the silver dragon. And then she goes close to our hero and says, "So let's begin now. If this is too unbelievable from a human point of view, this is his revenge on the dragons as a dragon." The Queen looks at our hero and says, "Hey, if me touching you is torture for you, then I am going to torture you a lot." And then she pushes him on the bed with her long tail and climbs on top of him. Our hero gets scared, and he says to her that, hey, what are you going to do? The queen tears our hero's clothes at the same time, and clings to him and lies on top of him. And then she lifts her hand up, from which the chin is visible, and she says, "It is me who is making my dragon tattoo on you." Our hero tries to stop her, but he is unable to stop her. And then the queen says that it will be a great shame for you. This tattoo means that from now on you are a prisoner of the dragon empire and me. And you will never be able to remove this tattoo in any way. And then she looks at him smiling. And she says, "What will your companions think of you after seeing this tattoo on your body? That you are a hero who killed a great dragon or a traitor who has surrendered to the dragon clan?" Our hero is feeling a little pain because of the tattoo on his body, and he says, "Why is this put on my body? Remove it quickly." And then she says, "I want you to live with this shame for the rest of your life, and be badly humiliated by me for the rest of your life." Our hero now understands that I have to get out of here somehow, and then he tries to get out of there by dodging her. The name of this place is Silver Dragon Cancellation, and here two girls are seen talking to each other. And she puts her hand on her mouth and says that the queen was looking in a very good mood tonight, because her husband is awake now. Our hero was listening to all this secretly, and then he thinks in his mind that that female dragon has really announced in front of everyone that I am her husband. But he also knew this thing, that the female dragon is very scary. She provokes him to have sex again and again. He was very nervous thinking about her, that when they were together. Then she provokes him to have sex a lot, and she has done this with me day and night, due to which my back is almost about to break. And then he gets very angry thinking this and says, "Leon, I will never come here and will not become her toy. I have to get out of here by any means." And then he looks secretly that 4 dragons are guarding the door here, and he understood that it is very difficult to get out of here. And then he stands against the wall, and he thinks to himself that today's Silver Dragon cancel. Why are there so few people here compared to when I came here 2 years ago? This place is completely different now and looks very peaceful. Then suddenly his eyes fall on a hole. Seeing the hole, he becomes happy that maybe this could be my way out. So he goes near the hole, and he thinks to himself that maybe this is a trap in which I get caught. Thinking this, he starts getting very worried. But now he had decided that it doesn't matter. I have suffered a lot now. That now I cannot think whether this is a trap or not. Now I have to get out of here. Whatever the consequences, even if it is a trap, I will get out of here by force. Thinking this, he enters that pit. And in his mind, he says goodbye to everyone. But when he thinks about his daughter Muin, he does not like it. But still, he decides to leave from there because whatever it is, she is a dragon. On the other hand, Muin was able to see our hero easily, and she says, "Mom, look. Dad is digging a pit for the dog. It is so nice." Ronnie replies, "Yes, I saw it is very nice." Moin says, "Mom, go and hold him back, right?" Ronnie calms her daughter and says, "Moin, you cannot use this word with your father. It is very rude." Hearing this, Moin says, "Then what should I use?" On the other hand, after some time our hero comes out of that area and starts running fast. While running, he thinks to himself that after climbing these mountains I can see the boundary of human territory. He looks back and says that the female dragon should not catch me after running so far. He was thinking that he has escaped from there. Then suddenly he looks at the sky and his wife is chasing him flying in the air in her dragon form. Our hero looks and understands that, hey, this is Rosevesh, and then he starts running away in fear. Rosevesh says that you are a very good runner, Leon. Our hero is still running to save his life, but she comes and stands in front of him and says, "It is fun to play with me like this, isn't it?" And then she looks at our hero angrily and says, "I am really satisfied. Don't you think it is very easy for you who helped you distract 2 guards and left a hole for you to escape?" Hearing this, our hero now understands that this was a trap, and he says, "Even though I knew it was a trap, I had no choice. I didn't expect you to catch me so quickly." The dragon says, "What will you tell your people if you return to the human world now? I have already inscribed my mark on your chest. Do you think they will accept you as a dragon slayer now?" And he says, "Then I will resume my life as a normal person, which will be better than you making me suffer." Rolf says, "Fine. You don't know how to appreciate my kindness," and then she immediately grabs him in her claws and flies back to her territory. Our hero is shouting, "Let me go. Where are you taking me?" Rosp says, "Because you want to go back, I will help you." 3 hours later, all the Empire boards reach near the city, and then she releases it in the air, due to which our hero collides with the tree branches and falls on the ground. And he gets a little hurt too. As soon as he opens his eyes, he sees a small house far away. He gets surprised to see and says that this is a human city. Rosevs looks at him and says, "Yes, you are right. This is a human empire." And when you look at the long-lost human city, do you feel like you can just walk out of there and back into the human world? But that's not the case. Leon, you can't go back, even though it's so close to you. But the tattoo I see on my chest is the same tattoo you have on your chest. And then our hero gets scared and comes out of his back again. And then she says, "Hey, I forgot to tell you that when two people with dragon mark want to have sex with each other, then the dragon mark will generate a reaction." Hearing this, our hero gets nervous as she was about to have sex with him now. And then she says, "Now you must be feeling hate in your whole body. You must be getting excited. You must not be able to bear this desire, right?" And then she comes close to our hero and puts her hand on his chest and says, "Don't you want to stay here?" "Yes, you know why I brought you from here? I want you to understand that if I do this in front of your hometown, then it will be a matter of shame for you." Our hero looks at her angrily and says, "Do you think I will lose my trust because of this?" And then she grabs our hero's collar at the same time. But our hero removes her hand and says, "I will wait carefully till that opportunity comes and will take double revenge for the insult you have done to me." Rosewidge feels a little sad to hear this, but still she says, "Okay. And then she hugs him and says, "I will wait for you whether you are alive or dead." In this forest, far from the borders of the Empire, Rosevs and our hero find a secluded place and sit down. Rosevs now takes advantage of her helplessness and starts doing whatever he wants. And after having sex for a long time, she gets satisfied. And then while wearing her clothes, she looks at our hero and says, "I am very satisfied with your performance now." Our hero's condition had worsened. He was not at all happy with that dragon Rosevs. And then she comes close to our hero and says, "How would it be if I bring you here every month to visit your hometown?" Our hero gets up at the same time and sits away from Rosevs, and he understands that every month's tour means that I will have to have sex with her. And says that, "I see that you are a female dragon whose head is in the clouds, and you are wondering how you will kill me." Then Rosas feels something strange, and she says that it seems as if someone has just seen me. And then she turns back and says, "Let's go, our daughter must be waiting for us." And then her eyes turn to the other side, and she says, "Wait a minute." Our hero moves forward to see who is there and says, "As a dragon slayer, I don't want to be caught like prey by you. I can walk myself." Roses replies, "Hey, it takes at least 3 hours to fly from here to the Silver Dragon. That's why I am saying go at my pace. And a human can take at least 10 days or half a month to walk." Our hero replies, "Only 10 days or half a month. Don't underestimate our human endurance. We can do anything." Hearing this, Rodway starts smiling and says, "Okay, I also want to see how long you can walk," and then both of them start walking. After some time, our hero stands up holding the tree. He was very tired. Rodway was still fine, and she says, "It seems that you cannot walk now. If you ask me, then nothing has happened to me yet. I am still fine." Hearing this, our hero replies, "Not at all. I am not tired at all." Roseway says, "I know you're tired, but the only thing that isn't tired is your mouth." Then suddenly they hear someone coming, and they both look in that direction. The Dragon Slayer army captain is passing by. Our hero is happy to see him and thinks to himself, "This is good. These guys can probably help me get rid of this dragon." But here Roseway senses our hero's feelings and starts getting angry. As soon as our hero sees Roseway's, he understands that if he asks her for any help, Roseway's will kill the captain without any hesitation. On seeing our hero, the captain stops and says to all his army mates, "Hey, wait a minute." And then he looks at our hero and asks, "Hey, are you lost here?" Our hero replies with a smile, "We are just roaming around here." Our hero understood that if I said something like this, Rosvance would kill him. At the same time, he gets down from his horse and comes towards our hero and says that this forest is not a good place to roam. There are many dangerous places and wild animals here. And can I drop you somewhere, or should I take you around here? Saying this, he comes close to our hero and says that, by the way, my name is Walker, and I am the captain of the 47th Squadron of the Imperial Dragon Slayer Army. Saying this, he is going close to our hero. Our hero understood that if he comes to me, Roseway will not leave him at any cost. He will kill him, and then he shows both his hands and says, "Hey, thanks for your kindness. But we have also learned some self-defense techniques, and we can protect ourselves." Our hero replies that you should not come here. When the captain looks carefully and says, "Hey, you look familiar. It seems I have seen you somewhere." This is the captain's. Hearing this, Rose Wedge gets very angry. She starts using her power, but our hero sees this at the same time and says that this is not right, and he holds Rose Wedge's hand and pulls her towards him. He clings to her and says, "Sir, you must have mistaken me for someone else. My face is very famous, and even my wife often misidentifies me." And then our hero looks at Rose Wedge and whispers to him that I will follow your orders, but first get me rid of this captain. And then Rose Wedge also holds our hero lovingly. The captain looks at her and says, "Hey, okay, then I will not disturb your love." Saying this, he starts leaving from there. Roseway immediately moves away from our hero and wipes his hand and says, "Enough hugging." And then she says, "Leon, you were smart enough to not ask for help. But keep one thing in mind. You have to understand your situation yourself. Even though we have children, it does not mean that I am your wife." Roseway replies, "I also thought that I will become your husband. It is just a compulsion, and I do not even want to stay here." Rodway turns from there and starts going back and says, "Come on, we have to go far." Suddenly, our hero's hand starts hurting. As soon as he looks, he sees some scratches on his hand. Seeing this, our hero falls on the ground. Roseway is surprised to see him and says, "Hey, have you fainted?" And says, "Hey, what kind of delicate person are you?" And then she activates her dragon energy at the same time and transforms into a dragon, and grabs our hero in her mouth and puts him on her back, and then flies into the air. After some time, both Roseways and our hero reach the palace, and our hero is still lying on the bed in an unconscious state. After some time, his eyes slowly open and he finds himself in the palace. At that time, Mayan comes to him and says, "Dad, you are awake." Our hero gets a slight headache and he says, "Hey, how did I come back here?" Moyen tells, "My mother has brought you back here." Then our hero remembers someone who finally caught me like a prey, and my wife has brought me here. He gets angry thinking this. Then suddenly his eyes fall on his hand, which was injured. And then he asks Mayan, "Hey Mayan, who has bandaged my hands?" Mayan replies, "I have bandaged your hands." And then she holds our hero's hand and says, "Dad, please praise me." Our hero innocently looks at him and says, "Dragonologists once said that dragons are a cruel race. They spend their whole lives in violence and bloodshed since childhood. But Mayan clearly does not have the qualities of a dragon. She is very polite. But she has no animosity towards me, and she treats me exactly like her father. Is it because she is a human-dragon hybrid?" And then he puts his hand on Moyen's head and says, "Well, Mayan, you did a great job, and that is great." Hearing this, Moyen starts smiling, and then he comes close to Moyen and softly says, "Moyen is very cute, but when you grow up, you should not become like your mother because your mother is very cruel." At that moment, Rosevez comes and says, "What is wrong with being like me?" Our hero gets scared and becomes silent, and then he turns his face to the other side and says, "Nothing." Moyen immediately puts our hero's hand on his head and says, "Mom, Moyen has bandaged father's wound as per your instructions." Rosvez says, "Yes, okay, these are the things you should do." Hearing this, Moyen gets happy and says, "Okay, Mom." Our hero was still thinking, what a strict mother, who doesn't have even a little bit of politeness. And then he puts his hand on Moyen's head and says, "Moyen, why don't you hide in the garden first? When I count to 100, I will come out to find you." Okay, hearing this, Moyen gets happy and says, "Papa, will you really play hide and seek with me?" Our hero says, "Yes, absolutely not, I am not like your mother. You go and hide quickly, and I will count." Our hero starts counting. 1, 2, 3. Mayan goes out shouting and says, "Hey Papa, why are you counting so fast? Count a little slower." Moyen walks away. Our hero then gets angry and says, "Hey, I am talking to you. Where is your attention?" Rosvez replies, "Yes, tell me." Our hero says, "Aren't you being too hard on this child?" Rosvez sits on the bed and says that all of us dragons have gone through this phase. We have been strict with our children from a young age. We can create strong warriors. We should treat our children like that to make them strong. Our hero says, "But she is not a dragon at all. And besides, Moyne is so cute. Can't you stand that she is so cute?" Rosewace replies, "She is a dragon, and cute is a derogatory term for dragon." Our hero shows his hand and says, "You are cute too." Hearing this, Rosewace gets angry and also grabs our hero's collar and says, "You are just a slave to take out my anger. Stop trying to trick me." Our hero gets sad. And then Rosewace says, "It is good that you understood that I am the queen of the Silver Dragon clan, and I have a lot of government employees, and there is a lot of government work. So you have been given the job of taking care of my child." And she hugs our hero and says, "And this child is so cute." After all this, our hero walks out. He forgot to find Moyne, and he was thinking in his mind that Rosevesh is the dragon queen, and she is very busy. It seems like we are dragon slayers, and it is our responsibility to take care of the children. Then suddenly a figure appears there which attracts the attention of our hero. He understands by seeing and says, "Hey, I have seen you." He still starts thinking about Moyne, that Moyne is still very innocent. And he says, "Do you think that if you hide behind me, then I will not be able to find you?" And then he points his finger towards Moyne and says, "Moyne, I have found you." At the same time, Muin comes out. Our hero gets shocked to see her and says, "Hey, this girl looks very angry." And then smilingly says, "Moyne, forgive me for making you wait." Moyne starts running at the same time. Our hero shouts and says, "Hey, what is happening and why are you running? Stop." And then that girl runs away from there. Our hero thinks in his mind that the state of mind of a child cannot be guessed. It is really difficult. Here Moyne was watching all this hiding behind. Now he puts his hand on his head and starts thinking that no wonder the Roadways has entrusted me with the responsibility of taking care of this child. It is really difficult to take care of him. Then suddenly Moyne comes from behind and catches our hero and says, "Yes, Moyne caught Papa." Our hero looks at Moyne and asks, "Hey Mon, why did you run away after seeing me?" Moyne replies. Moyne gets surprised thinking this and says, "No Papa, I could not find you, so I have found you." Our hero gets surprised hearing this, and he starts thinking in his mind that who did I see a while ago? And then Moyne starts pulling our hero and taking him away. Friends, this chapter ends here. To watch the next chapter, please subscribe to this channel and press the bell button so that you can watch the video first.